Well, he told everyone that he wasn't going, but it looks like Zach Werenski's going to the World Championships. We're going to talk about that, about Team Canada, and the Cleveland Monsters have been eliminated from the Calder Cup. That's all coming up today on Locked On Blue Jackets.
You're Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am, as always, your host, Jay Foster, here to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly about your favorite team and mine, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Before we get started, I want to thank everyone for making this your first listen of the day every single day. Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms and over on YouTube. Now, we've got kind of a grab bag of episodes today. I want to talk a bit about World Championships. I want to talk about Team Canada. I want to talk about Zach Werenski on Team USA. And I want to talk a little bit about the Monsters being eliminated from the Calder Cup playoffs by the Laval Rocket as well. So let's start off with Team Canada, because that's the thing that we've known about for the longest, right? Dean Evason, head coach there, brings Adam Fantilli and Kent Johnson with him, which is fun. There was maybe some rumblings about a couple of other players, but I guess not. This is good for them, right? I know that everyone freaks out about injuries at the World Championships, or like William Eklund, for example, just like playing a pre-tournament game, gets his wrist cut with the skate, and now is wearing like an inch-thick bandage from his fingertips all the way up to his shoulder, basically. It's not quite that bad, but it's certainly not good, right? But these guys want to play. I think it'll be good experience for them. It'll be fun. And I feel like Canada always does pretty well in the World Championships. So it's not like the Olympics, or not the Olympics. Yeah, I guess the Olympics in the last couple of years, but it should be a pretty good roster that the Canadians have brought. A lot of maybe not like surprises, but Sidney Crosby is going, which I was not really expecting. Marc-Andre Fleury is going. Okay, Canada finished in 4th place last year, but they won the year before that. Rocco Grimaldi actually was the scoring leader in that one with 14 points, which is very funny. I don't know that. I feel like, was Adam Fantilli on that roster? Surely not. I'm trying to find the rosters. There's a whole different page for it. Anyway, the point I'm making here is that people freak out about World Championships, but I think this is good. I think, again, like, the experience is what matters here, really. It is okay, no, Adam Fantilli was not on that roster. Maybe I was making it up. The point I'm making here is it's good to get extra postseason play in, right? And ideally, you want that to be in the form of playoffs. But they're young. I think they're not ready to be done playing yet. I think, yes, the injury is a risk, but I don't know. I don't know that they'd be, if the risk outweighed the reward, I don't know that they'd be allowed to go, right? And I saw a similar take about Denton Mateychuk being injured for the Monsters, but we'll talk about that in a second here. The World Championships is something that guys want to do, and it's, in theory, it is fun and it is useful. It looks like Kent Johnson and Adam Fantilli are going to be playing together on a line. It looks like they're both being centered by Ryan O'Reilly, which I'm surprised that Adam Fantilli is playing on the wing when Macklin Celebrini gets to play at center, but that's a whole other thing. I think playing with a veteran will be good for them. I will be interested to see how it goes. I'm expecting both of them to show up. Maybe that sounds kind of facetious, but you know what I mean. Like, I'm expecting both of them to have like reasonably good tournaments. In terms of the roster, like I said, there's some really good names on that roster. Sidney Crosby is there, for example. I think Nate McKinnon is on that list as well, which is, I mean, that's never a bad thing. Like, right, you know, you've got a ton of players to learn from. Just flipping through really quick. It feels like apart from, so you've got Sidney Crosby, you've got Marc-Andre Fleury, you've got Nathan MacKinnon. Beyond that, it's a pretty young roster. Like Bo Horvat is there, but like Mackenzie Weegar is there, I guess. But like for the most part, it's a very young roster. Like Tyson Forster is there. He's 23. Will Cooley is 23. Riker Evans, 23. Dylan Garand, one of the goalies, 22. Adam Antilli, only 20. Celebrini, 18. Like Noah Dobson, 28, 25. It's a very young roster, but there are some superstar guys on there that I think will make it fun. And it's, I don't know, it's fun to have Marc-Andre Fleury there as well. And I don't know how many games he'll play, but he might just be there for vibes. And if he is, then good for him, right? It worked for James Van Riemsdyk in the NHL all this year. So, Dean Evason coaching was, I thought, again, an interesting choice. In terms of Canadian coaches that were eliminated from the playoffs, I don't know the nationalities of these coaches off the top of my head, but like Lindy Ruff, not in the playoffs. Ryan Husker, not in the playoffs. Who else is not in the playoffs? Todd McClellan, who I think is actually, Todd McClellan is Canadian. So, you know, like there's some coaches that were options. Patrick Roy, for example, not in the playoffs. Like there's some names they could have pulled, and like I think it's fun that they picked Dean Evason. I think he'll be, again, I'm not sure how good Canada will do at this tournament. It feels really like a toss up for Team Canada in that they either win or they don't medal. Right? It's very rare that they get a silver or a bronze, I feel like. But you know, we'll hope for a gold medal. I think the fact that it's Marc-Andre Fleury's first and also last World Championships, it's probably going to be Sidney Crosby's last World Championships as well. But you know, we'll see about that. It should be fun. The other thing I want to talk about with the World Championships is Zach Werenski said repeatedly that he was not doing the World Championships this year. He has his own wedding to get ready for. He has 2 other weddings that he's going to. He played a lot of hockey this year. He wants to like rest. And then 2 weeks later, here he is for Team USA. So I want to talk a little bit about that in just a second here on Locked On Blue Jackets.
An award-winning mattress can change your life. I speak from experience. It happened to me. After years of uncomfortable sleeps, I recently switched to Bear Mattress, and the results were instant. Bear Mattress is designed with a focus on recovery, cooling, and pressure relief to upgrade your sleep and improve your overall quality of life. I used to deal with night sweats, but Bear's best-in-class cooling ensures optimal temperature regulation, which prevents overheating and helps me stay comfortable all night long. Bear offers a wide variety of mattresses, but to get the right one for you, take their sleep quiz that matches you to your perfect mattress based on body type and sleep preferences. Go to bearmattress.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL at checkout to get 40% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. You have to use my promo code on the very last page of checkout to get this discount. That's bearmattress.com. Use my promo code LOCKEDONNHL to get 40% off site-wide. Bearmattress.com, promo code LOCKEDONNHL.
Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jackets. Let's talk about Zach Werenski, who has decided that apparently he's not done playing hockey, which I did joke on Twitter that, like, my guess is his fiance had him around the house for 2 weeks and was like, absolutely not, go play hockey somewhere else. I will plan this wedding by myself. But the fact that he clearly feels like, I think he feels like he has something to prove, right? And you look at the roster that that Team USA has brought, and you look at like specifically the defensemen that Team USA has brought, and like, is Zach Werenski immediately the best player on Team USA? Like, he's certainly going to be the number one defenseman. Like, he's the best defenseman immediately, which makes me wonder how hard Ryan Wasowski like pushed and kept calling. Because again, similar to Team Canada, I feel like apart from a couple of odd guys, they've got quite a young roster. They've got a younger roster than Canada. Like, I think their oldest player is Brady Shea, who's 31 years old. But you've got Will Smith, 20, Zeev Buium, 19, Hampton Slakinski, 19, Cole Hudson, 18. Like, there's a lot going on here in terms of like young players. Frank Nazar, Logan Cooley, both 21 years old. Yeah, it is. It's just Brady Shea. The only player over the age of 30 is Brady Shea, and he's 31 years old. So it's a very, very young roster. And I think Zach Werenski's going to walk onto this roster, and like I said, immediately maybe becomes the best player on this roster. Like, I'm willing to put an argument in for like Jeremy Swayman, for example. But for the most part, like, I'd be willing to put an argument in for Clayton Keller as well. But he is immediately the best defenseman and is going to play a bajillion minutes. And frankly, the prospect of Team USA doing something at this tournament becomes immediately more, if you ask me. I think, again, do I think Zach Werenski should have gone? Potentially, no. Again, he played a scrollion minutes in the regular season, I believe he led the Four Nations in ice time as well as scoring. Led every NHL player in average time on ice this season. Yes, he didn't play playoffs, and I think he missed a game of the regular season. He played 81 regular season games and then played all Four Nations games. No playoff games, but apparently that's still not enough hockey, right? And I do wonder how much of it is feeling unsatisfied with how the season ended, and wanting to go on and play in something approaching postseason play, right? But he immediately makes Team USA much, much better. So I don't know off the top of my head like who the team to beat for the World Championships is. Like, maybe Sweden. They seem to, just as a quick glance, like Sweden and Canada seem to have the best rosters. But I think Team USA might be putting in a submission there in terms of, hey, we are here and we are ready to play some hockey. Should be interesting. Canada and the USA are in different groups, so we could ostensibly have an all Blue Jackets final. And we're not going to like put a ton of time into covering the World Championships specifically, but we'll keep an eye on how our guys are doing, of course. Because it's fun and we want good things for the Michigan guys. I do think it's funny that it's the Michigan guys that have gone as well. All three of the Michigan guys, anyway. So we'll keep an eye on them. We'll see how they're doing. Let's talk about the Cleveland Monsters, because they were pretty unceremoniously, I would say, bounced from the playoffs. They lost in the second round, 3-1, after going 2-0 in the first round, beating the Toronto Marlies 2-0 in the series. They get to play Laval, which is kind of a rough reward for, the thing about the playoffs is that your reward for winning games becomes a harder team to play against, right? So they get to play the Laval Rocket, who won the AHL equivalent to the President's Trophy. And they got beaten by the better team. Like, do I think the Monsters played particularly well this series? No. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, no, it was a great series. The Rocket were just better, which is technically true. But also I thought the Monsters were not great in this series at all. Like, part of that, I think injuries occurred. Obviously, Denton Mateychuk got taken out in Game 3 by Logan Mailloux. They had a bunch of other guys that missed time due to injury. I think Madison Bowie was injured. It's impossible to get anything out of the out of the Monsters in terms of injuries, like in a good time. Like the playoffs is even harder, right? It's just, they're not playing right now, right? But my guess is that Madison Bowie was injured. I think I don't remember who. I think either Knazko or yeah, it would have been Knazko. Got added when Madison Bowie left with an injury. When Matejchuk went down, they were forced to bring in Drew Bavaro as their replacement. Jordan Dumais, I believe, was injured to start the series, came back in, and then left the series. Gavin Brindley only played 4 games, didn't record a point in any of those games. And here's the thing: James Malatesta 1 point in 6 games, and that was, I believe, his series-winning goal against Toronto. Right, so in the 4 games against Laval, no points. Joseph Lebay, no points against Laval. Trefek Swansky, I believe, had no points against Laval, or if he, I think he had 2 assists, maybe. I don't remember off the top of my head what the numbers were like. Luca Del Barbaluz had a goal and an assist in 4 games. Rocco Grimaldi was a non-event. He had no points against Laval. Like, the offense just completely dried up. Denton Matejchuk obviously missed most of the he only played in 2 and a bit games, let's say. He had 1 assist. After getting 4 points in 2 games against Toronto, he got 1 assist versus Laval. Luca Pinelli, ironically, I think was their best, one of their better guys. He had 2 assists in 1 game against Laval. 3 games pointless. Like, they just, I believe they as well only scored like 5 goals in 4 games, if that. And like, yeah, that's credit to Laval's goaltending, but also just the Monsters were just awful in this series. They scored 2 goals, and then no goals, and then 3 goals, and then 1 goal. What's that? 6 goals? 6 goals in 4 games? It's not good enough, right? I don't think Laval's goaltending is not that good. It's good. It's not that good, right? Jacob Fowler had like 4 career starts under his belt when he shut them out in game 2. Just not good enough. I tell you who was good enough and got 0 help. Jack Reeves, who was very, very good for his team. He played in all 6 games, had a .912 save percentage, 3 wins, 3 losses, allowed fewer than 3 goals a game, which, considering the fact that they couldn't score, means that basically they lost, 6 goals in 4 games. That is about a goal and a third per game. Let's round it down. Let's say a goal in 1 game and 2 goals in the next game. They basically lost 2 games 3-1 and 2 games 3-2. Right? That's essentially how the goal scoring shook out. That's you can't put that on your goalie, right? He did the absolute best that he could, and it's frustrating because this team is supposed to be built for goal scoring. Like, they scored a bunch of goals in the regular season. Like, if we go back to the regular season stats, the Monsters scored a ton of goals. Where are they? They scored 206 goals in the regular season, and then they scored 12 in the postseason? 13? Like, an average of about 2 goals a game, I believe it is. Where are they? There they are. 14 goals in 6 games. So they were outscored 14-18. I don't know what to say. It's just straight up not good enough. So what does this mean going forward for the Monsters? We'll talk about that in just a second here at Locked On Blue Jackets. First, I've got to tell you about Wonderful Pistachios. Are you looking for a snack that is both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. They're one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you 10% of your daily value. Plus, they are packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller for longer. I love the no shells variety. I am a gremlin. I sit at my desk and eat them 14 at a time without thinking about it. And honestly, maybe the in-shell options will be better for me to stop me from eating a billion pistachios in a single day, but both options are great. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Let's finish off by talking a little bit about the monsters now, right? Because for my mind, there is a handful of guys on this team that have played their last game as a monster, and some of that is for good news. Some of it is for good reasons. Some of it's for bad reasons. Like, my guess is Jet Greaves, full-time Blue Jacket next season. Denton Matejchuk is going to be a full-time Blue Jacket next season. I think Luca Delbert-Belouz is going to make a big push to be a full-time Blue Jacket next season. If you look at guys who are on contract or about to run out of contract, let's say, there is a not insignificant number of guys on this roster that are going to be UFAs or RFAs at the end of this year. So Hunter McCown is finishing his ELC. Mikhail Pucha also finishing his ELC. I suspect we'll see Pucha back. Joe LeBate, done. Dylan Gambrell, done. Trefix Wolanski, I think, is probably done. Owen Sillinger, I could see them bringing him back. He obviously has been out since, January with injury, so he wasn't in the playoffs at all. But he signed his, not technically an ELC because he's too old for an ELC, but he signed an NHL contract or a two-way contract. So my guess is they'll probably throw him one more of those two-way NHL contracts that probably last a year. His brother plays here. It's important to keep the Sillinger family happy, right? That's all the forwards. In terms of defense, Samuel Konasco, Damon Hunt, Yulia Bjorkvik-Holm, Stanislav Svozil, Cole Clayton. All four of those guys are done as well. They're all RFAs, finishing with their entry-level contract. And Zach Sawchenko, the goalie, is also done. Like, of this list, I'm looking and I'm like, right, who do they bring back, right? My guess, they could bring Sawchenko back. He was fine as a backup. I don't know what they're going to do for goaltending next season. Obviously, without Jet Greaves, they're going to have to do something. Sawchenko was fine, but I don't know that he'll be able to do the heavy lifting that Jet Greaves did, right? My guess is they probably re-sign Damon Hunt just because I don't know they want to lose him so soon after the Jiricek trade. Like, he played half a season here and did not play in the playoffs, which again I think injury was involved in that. But the initial feelings I've been getting are that he did not super impress in his time in Cleveland. I would like them to keep Fix Wolanski, but I think his time as a Blue Jacket is up. My guess is he's going to go somewhere like Colorado and be really good for the Eagles for the next 6 years. My guess is they'll re-sign Pucha. They could re-sign McCown. But beyond that, I'm looking at this list of pending free agents, and it's not like there's no one here that I'm like, man, they have to re-sign these guys for the good of the future, right? Like, all of the guys again, Brindley still is under contract for next season. Pinelli just started his ELC this year. Although really that should in theory roll, but I don't know enough about contract to argue with that. Delbert-Belouz just started his ELC this year. John DeMay, who did not impress me much this season, just started his ELC. Max McHugh, who everyone's very high on, just started his ELC. James Malatesta still has 2 years left on his. Luca Morelli, who didn't play, actually, he's still up with Oshawa, but he's going to be a big part. I could see him with the Monsters next season sometime. Svozil still under contract. Guillaume Richard, who I thought was very good. understated performance from Rashad. Under contract for 2 more years. And Charlie Alec, who also didn't play in the series, under contract for 3 more years. But I suspect we'll see him as a monster next season as well. Like, there's gonna be lots of change. But there's no one on this roster that I'm looking at and I'm like, man, they have to bring this guy back. Like, I would love if they brought, just to kind of scroll through, like, guys that are not under NHL contracts, like Roman Ashan. I would like them to bring back. Let's flip to the regular season points, because it's depressing looking at the playoff ones. Like, I would love for them to bring Rocco Grimaldi back. He had 58 points in 66 games as one of the older players in the league. I would love for them to bring Roman Ashan back. I think he adds something to this team. Who was the other guy that I was just looking at? Oh, Madison Bowie, I thought was good this season. It's not going to put up points, but I thought he was extremely good. And the thing is, you're going to have to replace your number one goalie and your number one defenseman and potentially your number one center as well. If Luca Del Barbaluz makes a big push to join the Blue Jackets, which I think he will. The Blue Jackets are very high on him. I think there's noise for someone like James Malatesta to make a push. I think there's noise for someone like Gavin Brindley, who did not, I think, have the rookie season that he was hoping for in Cleveland. And maybe he is just a Fantilli merchant. Maybe not. We'll see. But Mikhail Pucher, I think there's room for him to push as well. Like, there's a lot of names on this list that could be Blue Jackets next season, and that takes them out of the Monsters' radar. Many of them will still be waivers exempt, so if they make the team out of training camp, there is still room for them to go back. Like, I believe Mikhail Pucher is still waivers exempt. Let me pull up where I just was. Mikhail Pucher is still waivers exempt, yeah, and like Del Barbaluz is still waivers exempt. If they do want to send him down, like Denton Mateychuk, I believe, is also waivers exempt. I don't know off the top of my head what the waivers ruling is for the NHL, but I'm sure I can find out. Where is it? A player is eligible for waivers. Here we go. NHL waivers. Oh, it's very complicated. Basically, they have to have played an amount of games, or they have to have, for example, Denton Mateychuk is going to have to play 160 NHL games to lose his waiver exemption, because he's only 20 years old and he is still in his ELC. If it gets to like 24-year-old making the team, making his NHL debut, he only gets 60 NHL games. For anyone older, I believe 25-year-olds, if you play one game, you're only exempt for the rest of that season. So, for example, Owen Sillinger, he made his NHL debut this season. He is now waivers ineligible, which is kind of wild. But the point I'm making here is a lot of the young guys are waivers ineligible right now, and will be for quite some time. So if they, you can bounce them up and down. I don't know if that's the best thing that I would do with them, but they can. So we don't have to worry about losing guys like that. For me, the loss is going to be Trey Fix-Wolansky. I think he has not outstayed his welcome necessarily, but Trey Fix-Wolansky is one of those players, I think, that is probably slightly too good for the AHL, but is not necessarily an NHL caliber player. And I don't know that he's been given a fair shot in the NHL, because I don't know that getting 8 games at a time and playing 12 minutes a game is the way to, I see a lot of people being like, he's had plenty of chances and he hasn't, stuck it out. And I simply don't know that I agree with that. I'm pulling up his NHL numbers real quick, because I did not expect to go into a thing. He's played 26 games in his career over 3 seasons. He played 6 games in the 21-22 season, and played an average of 6:17 a game. He played 9 games in the 22-23 season and played an average of just under 13 minutes. Last season, he played 11 games at 10:59 on average. And this season, the 24-25 season, he actually did not get any NHL games. And for example, it's not like he's been getting like good NHL time either. So for example, in last season, he got 1 game on November 16th, and then he played his other 10 games between March 9th and April 13th, when the Blue Jackets were basically out of it. And again, he the highest ice time he got in this season was he played almost 15 minutes against Montreal on March 12th, 2 years ago. Should he have made more from that? Probably. But a couple of years ago, he played 20 minutes against Philadelphia, scored a goal. It's not rocket science. Again, that was the Blue Jackets were basically out of it, and it was what it was. But then you look at his first season, and I'm like, okay, he played 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 6 minutes, 9 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes in his 6 games there. That you can't tell me that Terrific Swansky has been given a fair shot, especially when you look at what other guys have been given. So my guess is he goes somewhere else. I think the organization has gotten what they could out of him. They're not willing to give him an actual legitimate cup of coffee in the NHL. So he's going to go somewhere else and probably will get his cup of coffee somewhere else. I don't know that he's ever going to turn into an NHL player. My guess is that he probably becomes, like a TJ Tynan type player who, the Monsters fans from back in the day will remember. He's become maybe one of the better AHL players. Andrew Podorowski is another guy, was never a full-time NHL guy, but has been hands down maybe the best AHL player of the last 4 seasons. That's my guess anyway. Podorowski has not been. He played 3 games in the NHL this year, 2 last year. His career high in the NHL, I think, is 2 games total. Or no, his career high is 3 games that he did this year, and he's got basically that's what he's got to show for it, right? That's my guess, is that's the kind of player that Terrific Swansky is going to turn into, which is not ideal, and it's going to suck to lose him, but they will find somebody else. They getting any NHL games out of a 7th round pick feels like a success to me. And especially Terrific Swansky, who is, I believe, listed at 5'11" and is not 5'11". I'm not going to blow up his spot, but again, I've stood next to him and he is not taller than me, and I am not 5'11". So, for a 5-something guy to get picked in the 7th round and make the NHL at all is a success. I just wish that they had managed to make something else of him, which is maybe a criticism of the organization and not of Terrific Swansky as a player, right? That's kind of all I've got for today. We're back tomorrow with a brand new episode. I think we're going to talk about Sean Monahan in tomorrow's episode. We'll talk about the season that he had, how important he was to the Blue Jackets, what we can expect from Sean Monahan next season. We'll do that all in tomorrow's episode. Thank you for listening to this episode. For making it your first listen of the day every single day. Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms and over on YouTube. I've been Jay Foster. You can find me on Twitter at _Jacob Foster, JKOBFORSTER. You can find the show at LO_Blue Jackets. If you have comments, questions, criticisms, you can email me at lockedonbluejackets@gmail.com. Thank you once again for listening, and until tomorrow, make sure you stay locked on.